There was a question on the community today about setting a status of an issue based on a comment. Now, this user, Sue Molly, is trying to set the status, and the question is all about how can we change the status based on a comment. Now, this can be achieved by creating a listener. Now, when you create a new listener, you have the option to select the trigger or the event that you want to capture. Now, in case you want to create or in case you want to basically select that whenever there is an event called issue created, I will show you in a minute. And using script listener, you can of course limit your script to run on those events to specific projects. So you can always define here or select here the project name or project names. So let us say if your project is Scrum or whatever, you can then do something. We are of course looking at this listener called send a custom email. Let me show you just plain custom listener where we can do everything we want based on our own requirement. Now, my Jira instance is a bit slow, so apologies for that. Now you can select the project name here. Let us say Scrum, maybe ITSM for example, and you have the option to run a script here. Now, whatever you write here in the script will get executed whenever there is an event that you can select now. I will show you that event in a second. And now talking about setting the status. So status is not really a custom field that you can set. Status is something that can change when you make a transition. So in Jira, we have workflow. In Jira issues, we have workflow. And workflows have, if you talk about a specific workflow, you have different statuses, and those statuses are linked to each other using transitions. Now, from going from one state to another state, you have to basically make a transition. And you can only make a transition when you are allowed to make a transition. I mean, the conditions should allow you. And if you can make a transition, then definitely you can do that using a script as well. Now, I shared one script long back. I will give you the link of this script. Now in this particular script, you can see here that for making a transition, you can use one method called transition, but basically you have to use this transition validation result, and this transition validation result will contain the output of the transition that you are trying to make, basically from let us say a specific transition from a specific status you're going to another status, and for each and every transition you have those action IDs. Now if you basically pass in this action ID to validate transition method, of course for the user who is trying to make a transition, and of course for a specific issue, and the issue ID will come here. If you get the output here that is valid, only then you can make a transition. Now this is something that you can obviously adapt based on your requirement, and you can maybe, of course in this particular code you have to do some error handling just to make sure that the transition is valid and there are no errors. And for the event, you can always select something like issue commented. So based on this particular event, you can obviously do something using a script. There are some examples already here in this section here. If you look at this, the list of snippets, like maybe you want to get some ideas about what all you can do. But of course, when you have this option to write a custom script, you always can build your own logic. So definitely you can do that using a script, basically to transition an issue based on some events like adding a comment. So I hope you enjoyed watching today's video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.